I'd like to introduce my next guest, Dr. Nayan Patel, a renowned pharmacist, health consultant, and has groundbreaking research on glutathione, a major healthy aging, antioxidant, internal balance regulating molecule that we all need to know more about. So if you listen to this episode, you are going to learn how can you support your body to find that internal balance, to stop disease, to stop breakdown of our hormones, of our bones, and to be the healthiest version of yourself. So tune in and listen to this amazing episode with Dr. Nayan Patel. Today on Stronger Bones Lifestyle Podcast, I'm going to be speaking with Dr. Nayan Patel about glutathione and hormone replacement, and we are going to be discussing a lot of important things to take note of. Welcome, Nayan. Can I call you Nayan?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you,
welcome,
Debbie.
Nayan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this because the topic that you said was glutathione, and my mind went to liver, detoxification, toxicity is one of the root causes of bone loss. Let's talk and let's explore that. What is that exactly? Why do we need to pay attention to glutathione, and what is glutathione?
Absolutely. So let's start with what it is first, because in a simple medical term, it's a tripeptide, three amino acids coming together. It's one of the simplest form of peptide the body produces. And we should pay attention to this because it is the most abundant molecule produced in the human body. Our human body is absolutely perfect. There is no extra parts, extra organs, extra screws in our bodies. Everything was just made the way we have to be, right? Anything extra, your body will extrude them out of there. One extra chromosome, you are done. One less chromosome, you are done, right? Just think about it. It is absolutely just perfect, right? And so the question to us, with a conscious brain that we have, we need to figure out why body produces so much glutathione. We have known for 140 years. The only thing we have figured out so far is two things. One is the master antioxidant. It quenches all the free radicals. And we can talk about antioxidant benefits because it really, really affects your ability to produce new bones or having osteoclast activity or osteoblast activity, which is the bone forming and bone resorption. And they all have to work into conjunction to create healthy bones. But that is important because with the oxidative stress, your ability to produce bones reduces. Without the stress, you are clear to do the job. The body's clear to do the job. That's one thing. The second thing, which nobody talks about, which you already addressed it, is the ability to detoxify yourself. And guess what? Toxic body, toxic liver, toxic kidneys, your body is dealing with a sludge or with an issue, and it's taking away from building your body, right? And keep in mind, from starting the first year you're born, your body is constantly repairing and restructuring and rebuilding your body all the time. All it needs is nutrients and get them out of its way. If you put obstacles on the body says, well, I can do the job, but I got to do this junk first, right? For example, if you drink alcohol, it depletes the glutathione levels to zero, and now your ability to function and to repair the body goes down to zero as well. And so I always think about it and say, hey, what are we doing that is hurting our body from doing its job, right? And if you're doing that, and if you cannot stop it, for example, if you cannot stop living in this modern society and getting out in the sun and breathing toxic air, well, what can you do to neutralize it? And that's what the glutathione comes into play. So it's a peptide, most abundant molecule, the most powerful molecule in the body, and it is as important as breathing air and drinking water. Without those two, you won't be able to survive. With glutathione, I can assure you, your body is not going to make it.
Yeah, okay, so much was said there. One thing, I always say that the two things that happen with aging is dehydration and oxidation. And you mentioned antioxidant. I think antioxidant is the word you used. So during that whole cellular replication, there are things that are given off. They always tell me, my podcast team tells me, Debbie, you got to bring it to a kindergarten level. Even if you understand what someone's saying, explain it a little better. So the way I look at this, so our cells are replicating, and then they make They make free radicals, also
Yeah.
known as reactive oxygen species, right?
Yes, and reactive nitrogen species, that too.
Okay, and then the glutathione molecule is there to actually attach to them and neutralize them or get rid of them out of our body. Is that the kind of a
So those molecules, the reason they are reactive is because they have a positive charge. That charge, once you neutralize the charge, the molecule becomes inactive. So all you're doing is just taking the power out of it by getting rid of all the electrons from that charged molecule. That's all the glutathione does. It takes away all the energy. When there's no energy left, the just molecule just shrivels up and dies.
Okay. So that's, yeah, because it's like
Yep.
we know about antioxidant foods, blueberries, green tea, right? So does that work the same way? It's kind of coming in there to neutralize. And you said that the body will be perfect and do everything it needs to do if we give it the nutrients it needs. We give it the things that it needs.
True, but here's the thing. This is my first profound statement I'm gonna make about right now. Right? I always say that I'm making a profound statement because if I don't say it, people miss it. That is it really true, or is it something I should pay attention to? So, pay attention to this thing. Antioxidants. There's three things you can do to make antioxidants. Right? One, you can eat your blueberries or your raspberries, or take vitamin C, or drink orange juice, or spirulinas, or methylene blues and C60s. I mean, the list can go on and on and on. They claim to have an antioxidant benefit. I put all of those products in bucket number one. Okay? Bucket number two, your body produces three enzymes to deal with the same problem. Well, one is catalase. Two, superoxide dismutase. The short form is called SOD. And ladies will understand SOD. It's one of the major ingredients in La Mer skincare line. I'm not here to promote La Mer. I have a better product than that. Just want to let you know. Stop using the product. Three is glutathione peroxidase. It's another enzyme. It's called GPX in short. I consider all three enzymes in bucket number two. And bucket number three is one molecule called glutathione. And here's a profound statement. Bucket number three, which is glutathione, is more powerful than bucket number one and two combined. Okay? Let me repeat myself because a profound statement has to be repeated more than once for it to get into your head. Bucket number three, which is glutathione, is more powerful than our own body's enzyme production and outside source of antioxidant combined. That's how powerful glutathione is. And if you put them on your skin, oh my God, you have beautiful skin on its own, right? But internally, it is getting rid of all this oxidative stress from your body and allowing the body to repair and restore. And yeah, bones is one thing, but you know what? Organs, liver, your heart, your kidneys, your spleen, your lungs, everything needs to be repaired and restored all the time. If you're going to live to 100 plus years of age, your body has the ability to produce new cells every single day. Just get out of the way and let the body do its work.
Yeah. Okay. That's a profound statement. Okay. So then what do we do? You did say that did you say that alcohol takes it down to zero?
One drink of alcohol, the thing is, if you think about it, there are a lot of pollutants out there in the marketplace, right? Sun is not in the marketplace. Overexposure sun can also reduce oxidative stress, or increase oxidative stress, reduce your glutathione levels. Chemical exposure, pollution exposures can do the same thing. But alcohol is a solvent. It straight goes into your liver, and as soon as it gets processed, it hits up into your brain and you get buzzed from it, right? The thing is, what's happening is as soon as it hits the bloodstream, the glutathione, all the body's glutathione reserves you have, is going to neutralize the solvent. It's one of the most toxic product that we consume knowingly that is bad for us, right? And so as soon as you do that, your glutathione levels, even with one alcohol drink, your levels are zero. Zero.
Even Scottish whiskey?
Even Scottish whiskey. I'm so sorry.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter if it's
Yes.
grapes. It doesn't matter if it was wine or what the source
Alcohol
is.
is alcohol. Alcohol is alcohol. It's a chemically structured. You can put it into red wine, white wine, tequila, gin, whiskey, I don't care, beer. You can put in anything you want, but alcohol is an alcohol. It's going to deplete the glutathione levels down to zero. Your body will make the glutathione levels right away. If you're younger, as you get older, the body's ability to produce glutathione starts diminishing as you age. And all of a sudden, if you are able to drink 10, 15 beers on a night and still wake up the next day, when you turn 50, good luck. Good luck doing the same thing again, right? It's not happening anymore.
It's true. And you know what I've noticed too, even in the younger population? I mean, I know this is going to sound terrible, but I drank throughout my life. And usually, if you had a hangover in the next day, maybe by 10 or 12, you would feel okay. And then as I got older, it took maybe a whole day. And then there were times where maybe it would be 2 days. But I guess it also matters what else is going on, right? It's not just what other factors or hurdles exist in our lives. And that's where all the other lifestyle factors come in as well, right? The food we're eating. I focus a lot on gut health
Of
because
course.
yes, you could eat the nutrients, but if they're not digested, if they're not in the right pH balance to stimulate pancreatic enzyme secretion or bile secretion from the gallbladder or the liver, then you're near the whole system. So it really is a whole entire system. And you did say that. You said that everything could work perfectly, that we are designed perfectly to
Yes.
work. But then there's all these things that get in the way. So you're mentioning alcohol, but what are some of the other factors that can get in the way of either glutathione production, does glutathione does it lower in its production in the way that steroid sex hormones do as we age? Or what are some of the barriers or hurdles that we need to know about when it comes to production of glutathione?
So there's two things, right? Production and consumption. So we talk about consumption, heavy metals, pollutions, toxicities, and things like that. That reduces that increases the consumption, so reduces the levels that way. The production, it requires three things. One is the three amino acids, glycine, glutamine, cysteine. Two, requires two enzymes to attach those amino acids together. Three, it requires, well, there are four things, I guess. Three, it requires two sources of ATP, energy, from the mitochondria. So it needs energy. And the fourth thing is a molecule called NAD. NAD is there for electron transfer to basically put the final touch on the final molecule. Okay. So if any of those things are missing or reduced, then your ability to produce glutathione is dependent on the lowest amount of one thing, lowest amount of ATP, of energy, lowest amount of NAD, lowest amount of the enzymes, or the lowest amount of the amino acids that you get from your diet. So whatever is the least amount, that's all you can make, right? You can have all the gadgets in the world, but if you're missing all the screws, and if you only have 5 screws, you can only make stuff that takes 5 screws. Everything else just sits there, right? And so I want to make sure people understand that the body has the ability to produce glutathione for the rest of your life, until the last breath, right? You have it. But the problem is, if you are missing ATP energy or missing the enzymes, the levels will drop a little bit. And then eventually that little drop will increase oxidative stress. When the oxidative stress goes up higher, the consumption goes higher as well. It's the gap gets bigger and wider as you age. And that's the problem. It's not the body is not able to do that part. But the thing is, once there's a gap, you can never catch up to it, right? Once you're in debt, let's say you are debt in $10,000 and you cannot make that payments ever again. Every time you make less money, the debt gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can never fix it, right? That's the same way. The glutathione, once the gap increases, it's nowhere to fix it unless there's a product that can overtake your body's own production and give you what your body needs right there and there. If we can do that part, it's game over. Now, you can have a reset at any age of your life. You could be 90 years of age today, and you can have a complete reset today.
Okay, so we could supplement with glutathione. I know I use Quicksilver. Well, and you might even have a product you're going to talk about, which is great if you do. The one that I've used is Quicksilver liposomal glutathione. So
Sure.
can we take glutathione? What you're saying is that we could take a source of glutathione that could actually fill in that gap if that's something that exists for us.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is that was the holy grail. So 140 years we have known about glutathione. And guess what? There was no product available in the marketplace that was actually being absorbed in the human body. And this was another profound statement. Our body does not absorb any peptides from outside sources. Now, this is a big, big, big statement because guess what? People are taking peptides from all over the world today. They're injecting them, they're taking them nasal sprays, squirting them, they're taking capsules, all kinds of peptides. Some are bioregular, some are, and most of them not even autologous peptide, which is the body does not produce those peptides. They are just signaling molecule. The biggest one is the GLP-1 for the people that are using for weight loss right now, right? It signals your brain to stop eating. I mean, I could do the same thing, just put a hammer and just bang in your head and say, stop eating, and you'll stop eating. But no, they won't listen to me, so they will listen to a drug instead. But anyways, so peptides, your body doesn't absorb it. And so if you think about it, let's look at the history. FDA has only approved one drug, one product to actually enhance the glutathione level, and it's called N-acetylcysteine, which is a cysteine molecule. If you think about it, it's an amino acid. This was approved back in the 60s. In 2025, there's only one drug still available to do that, and it's still the same drug from 70 years ago, 60 years ago, right? And so 60 years, there's no new research happening in this thing. If it's the most abundant molecule and we have nothing, and think about it. So we made the first liposome product in my pharmacy. I'm a pharmacist by trade, right? In my pharmacy, at a company pharmacy, we have one in the Bay Area and one in the Orange County area in California. We made the first liposome glutathione in my pharmacy in 1999. And I thought this is the best technology. There was nobody else making it with liposome technology back 25 plus years ago. It didn't even exist. There was only a couple of drugs that exist in the pharmaceutical side, but nothing on the nutraceutical side, nothing on the vitamin side. So we were the first pharmacy to actually introduce liposome technology into the marketplace. And unfortunately, I got discouraged by using this technology because my glutathione product did not work. I says, wait a second. Well, it worked on somebody, did not work on everybody, right? And it's like me telling myself, I said, hey, if I give you money today, you tell me your money is no good in America. No, money is money. It's good for anybody, right? Glutathione is glutathione. It should be good for everybody. But in my patient was not working. So I said, okay, that's not going to work for me. So guess what I did? I couldn't explain why it was not working, but I know it was not working for my patients. So right away, I jumped into making an injectable form of glutathione. Because, hey, holy grail, right? If I can just inject it in your bloodstream, my job's done. And long story short, it only worked for 5 to 15 minutes. Wasn't working for long term. And it says, wait a second, why is this not working long term? Why is this short-lived, right? The body should be able to use it for long periods of time. And of course, I did not figure that push out. And then another 6 months goes by, and I had a bunch of interns coming from the university working with me. I said, hey, can you dig up some research to find out, is there trials done on glutathione for intravenous form? And keep in mind, the internet back in 25 years ago was a little choppy, We still have the dial-up modem. All the noise comes out. Not like this today, but, it was hard to do research back then, right? What we found out was, guess what? IV glutathione, even if you inject it in the bloodstream, only stays in the plasma. The kidney filters it out in 5 to 15 minutes, and everything is dumped in the urine. Your body gets zero glutathione. Zero. And I says, wait a second, this is amazing. I said, this is great work, but at the same time, this is not solving my problem. What am I going to do? What the researcher found out was in the bladder, the glutathione was getting broken down into amino acids, and the body actually absorbed cysteine. So 1.5 to 2 hours later, the researchers saw in the blood a rise of cysteine. And that cysteine was later used intracellularly to make your own glutathione. Save your money. Use cysteine capsules or eat cysteine-rich foods. Your job's done, right? But in my mind, I said, hey, even if I give all the cysteine in the world, if there's a gap, the body's not able to keep up with the demand. So I still wanted a product that can bypasses all the barriers and get to the intracellular levels. Until that time, no products in the world existed to do that same work. So buddy of mine, he was at the USC Keck School of Medicine, the research department. He was the head of the research over there. I was in the pharmacist school, pharmacy department. I said, hey, Dr. Trent, let's quit. Let's go and let's do some work outside the real world because in the university, our hands are tied, right? And he goes, no. I said, what do you mean no? Come on, dude. Right? It's just like one of those things. I have all these ideas and I want a partner in crime. And so it took me a year and a half to convince him, but he eventually came working with us. He's still with me even today's date. Amazing guy, amazing work we have done. And it took me 7 more years to figure out a way to stabilize a peptide, a small tripeptide in a water-based system at room temperature outside the human body. Wow. I was done. I thought my 2007 comes out, I thought I was on cloud 9. And guess what? I put it in my mouth, tastes awful, did not work. Right? Everything just ran away from me. I put a squirt in my nose, did not work because it would just burn my nose like crazy. I said, oh my God, nobody's going to use this product ever. Taste awful, burn my nose. The only thing left was to go through the skin route. Skin is a physical barrier. Size actually matters because if it's small enough size, it can get through the cracks of the skin. Otherwise, it will never get through your skin. And no products get through your skin. Everything, it's a passive diffusion. And so what we have 2 technologies we have to develop now. A physical barrier. How do I get through the physical barrier? By reducing the particle size. So we're able to twist the glutathione molecule to reduce the particle size to get through the cracks of the skin between the two cell walls. We get through that one. That was our first patent I received. The second one, cell wall, is a chemical barrier. Size has nothing to do with it, right? So what we did was, what does the cell want? Carbohydrates, some sugar type molecules, and it just sucks it up right away, right? Because it needs to produce energy. Energy is what we need in a whole body at all times. If the energy is reduced, you basically just cannot get out of the bed anymore. So for energy, it needs lots of carbs, lots of polysaccharides. So we took a cyclical polysaccharide. We already reduced the particle size of glutathione. We shoved it inside. So outside, the cell thought it was a sugar. Inside was glutathione. As soon as you get it inside through the skin, the cell just sucks it up. Once it sucks it up, inside was glutathione. Guess what? It just got delivered for the first time. And when that happened, that was the first time we identified that I can actually improve the glutathione levels. I don't care what age you are at. I can give you high normal levels like your 20-year-old within 15 to 20 minutes.
I want some.
Oh my God, right? Isn't it? But the thing is, Debbie, when you first discovered something like this, it's like, in my mind, I said, this is going to change the whole world. And no doctor wanted to listen to me. Well, some did. I don't say nobody. Some did. But most of the doctors says, no, I'm too busy selling the IVs. Because IV glutathione, they're making $80 a pop, $50 a pop. And with my product, they were making $2. I said, that doesn't make sense. I said, why would I trade a $50 item for $2 when I make more money? Right? So money the greed kind of clouded the judgment a little bit at that time. But I was perseverance. I just went at it. I said, you know what? That's okay. I'll do my own research. 13 more years of research. What my book, The Glutathione Revolution, all the things I found out over the next 13 years, I put in a book. And then eventually 2020 hit, pandemic started, and I was urged by so many people. I said, can you please release the product to the public now, please? So I was urged to release the product. So I had some celebrity clients back then. They were having some major issues with COVID. They were not going to make it. We helped them get out of the hospital, not because that this is antibiotic, antiviral. It's just that it reduces stress down. When the stress is down, the body can actually fight the infection on its own. When that happened, 2021 was when I launched the product to the public openly. So it took me almost, 14 years after I discovered it, and 7 years before that, 21 years total of research to launch the product. But today I can proudly say that it's probably the best glutathione product in the world. We have about 8 patents right now worldwide, only to deliver glutathione intracellularly within minutes, if not seconds probably, but I cannot say seconds.
So this is a topical cream that's
It's a solution. It's a topical solution. You just spray it on. It's like a water. Just rub it in like you rub your hormones. And in 30 seconds to a minute, it'll be like very liquidy and watery. And then it'll get really, really sticky because the polysaccharide is very sticky. And you can even move your arm and say, oh my God, it's so sticky. So you pat it down and all of a sudden disappears. It's all gone. It's all in your blood. It's all in your body.
Okay, so let me just kind of go back a little.
Sure.
Everyone is looking for slowing down the aging process. I mean, some people use the word hack. I actually don't like the word hack. To me, that's a very masculine chopping, going against nature. I like harmonize or homeostasis or balance, internal balance.
Or Mises.
So when you talked about the 4 things that are needed for glutathione, right? You talked about the 3 amino acids. Those are in food, right? With cysteine was one of them. What were those 3?
Cysteine, so glutamine and glycine. Cysteine is the one that is not readily available in your diet. So if you just put in your favorite search engine or your AI robot, just ask them cysteine-rich foods, you can get you all your diet choices.
Okay, I'm going to look that up and I'm going to get that. So we have those 3 amino acids. You talked about the 2 enzymes that are needed, and then you talked about NAD. Or sorry, 2 ATPs, which that brings us into cellular respiration. And do you have enough magnesium? Because the Krebs cycle that makes energy needs magnesium. So it's not, so we all, I think, spend so much time on those 4 pieces without even realizing that there's all the research you've done to actually say, wait a minute, here it is, bypassing kind of all of those steps. And then the NAD, and I know that there's one physician that is an anti-aging expert, and now everyone is taking NAD.
Right.
In my work, healthy gut that I do, whenever I find a bacteria and I need to go after them, we use NAC, the N-acetylcysteine, as a biofilm disruptor and probably supportive of glutathione. Now you're making me understand all this. So we're grasping for straws high up here with those 4 different things that are needed. And you've created something like, I want this. I want to try it. And the big thing too, because for me with bone health and, healthy aging, is the whole hormone component of life, because steroid sex hormones that we all take, the BHRT, it's not just to make stronger bones. It also keeps our body moist and keeps us happy and active and vibrant. So it's more than just, for me, bones, or it's all of it. It's how can I be the best, happiest, most energetic person for as long as possible, the quality of life.
I can give you my understanding of what hormones and longevity means if you're interested.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the thing. It's going to be a long-winded answer, but I think you'll get the point at the end of the thing. When you're born, you're this tall, you're very small, and you have so much of stem cells. So what you do is you take all the stem cells, the building blocks, and you make a bigger body. Fight everything, bigger heart, bigger organs, everything gets bigger, bigger, bigger until you're 18 or 20 years of age. Then you stop growing, right? The stem cells down to bare minimum, because now you only need for repair. You don't need to build anything. It's just for repair purposes. And so the stem cells reduces down to 0 almost. And then the only thing you do is repair work now. So about this time, it's way before that nowadays, the girls start cycling, right? The guys producing the adolescents start producing testosterone, and the girls start cycling, producing estrogens and progesterones, and so on and so forth, right? And it's the way the nature's created us is to procreate. Right, is to basically how we can give you all the hormones necessary so that you can produce more babies, right? And that will go on until maybe 45 or 50 or 52 is what the age of menopause is. And menopause is nothing more than basically stopping your hormone cycles, no more eggs remaining, now no more periods, and the body is actually designed to basically go downhill from there, and that's the sad part, right? But I'm going to tell you a different story on how we can reverse that a little bit, because now today the women are staying past 85 and 90 years of age, which is they are spending 30 to 35 years in cycling or having periods every month, and another 35 to 40 years of not having a period and living a very enjoyable life. And how can you have both of it, right? So around about the age of 20, your oxygen stress in your body is the lowest. Yeah, there's no oxidative stress because the body just quenches all the free radicals like really, really fast. But then at 21, you said, oh my God, now I'm grown up, I can have an alcohol. I said, no, you don't, but that's okay, right? The society makes it okay to have that alcohol for that age. And the oxidative stress is increasing, the glutathione levels are decreasing, but hopefully you don't drink too much. But anyways, but you also start increasing, you have also bad habits of eating junk foods, expose yourself to pollutions. Now you're out and about and just traveling the world and doing things that can that can increase your oxidative stress down. But even if your oxidative stress doubles, the body will actually produce more of the antioxidants, and basically the body goes back to homeostasis. Okay? Then around about the age 30, your oxidative stress actually triples down, right? When it triples, all of a sudden now, the ability to go back to homeostasis with just antioxidant therapy is not enough. It's not enough. So guess what the body does? Body builds in systems and mechanisms to get rid of all those dead cells, dead proteins, things out of there, right? And when it does that, we call senescence, go back to homeostasis again. But now you're far away from the homeostasis that you had in the 20s, because that homeostasis is actually the best one you had because no damage has been done to your body whatsoever. This one, there's a slight damage being done, but you're back to homeostasis again, right? And then guess what happens? You don't stop. Your toxic stress doubles again. And when that happens, around about the age of 40-ish, right? So 30 and above, you really need to take help, reduce oxidative stress down, or take supplementation of glutathione. 40 and above, the body can still come back, but not 100% anymore, right? Not 100% anymore. So the body will do all the mechanisms to help detoxify whatever free radicals you have. We'll try to get you back to homeostasis, but for the very first time, the body says that I cannot get back to homeostasis, but this is the best I can do, and you have to figure out something else to do with it. The onset of any conditions that happen in your body, that's the first onset, about age 40. I'm putting age 40 as an arbitrary. Is this easy to put 20, 30, 40? But it could be 35, could be 45. I don't know. And then that goes on for a couple more years or 5, 10 more years. And now oxidative stress will increase. And at this point, the body will not able to recalibrate ever again. Once you reach stage 5, that's the onset of diseases. There's no going back. And by the way, just want to let you know, menopause, perimenopause is not a disease. Osteoporosis is not a disease, okay? You can change the trajectory of that part, right? Hyperlipidemia, cardiovascular diseases, those are diseases because there's a change in the morphology, change in the structure that your body cannot go back to it. Okay, so I want people to understand that part, that going back to homeostasis is possible as long as you're not on the stage where it's point of no return. So if you are in the age of 30s, I would strongly suggest that do whatever it takes to increase the cysteine in your diet, reduce the exposure to toxicity, and go back to homeostasis as best as possible. That's the best bet you have. If you cannot do that part, and if you're not willing to let go of your modern day conveniences, which I am not willing to let go, supplementation may be necessary, right? By the age 40, there's nobody on this planet that's going to be having that's going to have normal glutathione levels that can bring the body back to homeostasis. Everybody needs to replace the glutathione for sure. Is as critical as drinking water every single day. Okay? I'm not going to say it's as good as brushing your teeth, because you can not brush your teeth for a month and you smell bad, but it won't kill you. But glutathione, if you don't have enough levels in your body for a month, your body really, really goes downhill, right? And there are so many unexplained conditions that happen. Oh my God, she was such a healthy person, and I don't know what happened. Boom, just went down really, really fast, right? The body does not go down that fast. Something has to trigger. Something has to trigger. Epigenetic, genes went off. The body's glutathione levels went off. Something has to trigger for the body to go complete downhill because you have a Fort Knox of defense built into the system. If the defense is down, then yes, you're going to go downhill. So I hope I made you understand that oxidative stress is very critical. It coincides with the hormonal cycles because hormonal cycles can put undue stress on the body as well. But there's a way to come back to homeostasis. And talking about hormones is nothing more than it's the balance, okay? When I do hormone replacement therapy for all my patients, I always look at the balance. Can you measure balance? No. You can feel the balance, but you cannot measure the balance. And so when the doctor says that I'm going to do the blood test, what they're really checking out is some of the things out of range or not. But really what they're going after is, hey, how do you feel? Do you feel good or not? If something's off, then we can fix this with the hormonal levels for you too. But hormone replacement therapy is absolutely critical because some of the things like osteoporosis, it does require the nutrients or the signals from the estrogens to rebuild the bones. And if the signals are very, very weak, the message is not getting up there. If you do take the hormones, if the levels are very small, very low, you may be symptomatic, be okay, you have no hot flashes, night sweats, but it's not enough to send a signal to your brain to produce more bones. So the ranges do matter for that purposes. So that's what the doctors are checking for it.
So what's the best way to check for that?
So the only study that has been done is based on serum test, blood test, unfortunately, right? Well, or fortunately, at least somebody has done the test. There's no test done by either saliva test or urine test to say that at this level it's going to have cardiovascular protection, osteoporosis protection, and brain health protection. Those are the three reasons why you take hormone replacement therapy. Those three protections. Again, you can do all three of them at reducing oxidative stress with glutathione, but besides that, assuming that you're already doing that, besides that, you do need the hormone levels to be high enough to make sure that you get all three protections. And the study was done in 1993 by Hirsch trial, and they said the estradiol level between 60 to 110 was necessary to have protection against those three conditions.
Are more studies being done now on this? Because once that Women's Health Initiative study was kind of blown out of the water, I think late 2023, we realized that was a ridiculous study that kind of ripped the rug out from under us for 20 years. Are there not any more studies being done now on hormones now that we realize they're beneficial?
You know what? I have not looked at recently at the clinicaltrials.gov because that's a website anybody can check over there, clinicaltrials.gov, and just type in estradiol or progesterone or testosterone and see who's doing the studies in the world. And you can see all the studies being done. I have not checked them lately yet, so I don't have an answer for that. I'm sorry.
Okay, so let me see if I understand this. This is my understanding of our discussion, which is really fascinating. So we have a really great ability to bounce back, to get to homeostasis, to be the best producers of hormones and optimal health as possible, up to 20, then up to 30. And certain things start to happen where it's going to be harder. And in some cases, we might lose some ability. And the term of what's happening, what we need to manage, the term of what's really causing the breakdown is oxidative stress.
That's exactly right.
The main factor, the main system or mechanism in our body is glutathione is going to be the main manager of that oxidative stress to help us be the best that we could be at whatever age we're at.
It's the only manager, unfortunately.
Okay. And so then when we become menopausal, so after 50-ish, when we become menopausal, since the body is no longer producing the hormones that are for making babies, and maybe we didn't live as long as we do now, and we still want the same vibrancy of the 30 years we had previously to the next 30 or 35, then we do need hormone replacement to fill in the gaps, and we need to manage the oxidative stress.
That's right.
Because that's, even if we're bringing in those the bioidenticals, we still need to manage that oxidative stress to maximize whatever it is we're using.
Absolutely. So even if you take the hormones, like see, I have a pharmacy, company pharmacy in Orange County in California. We have so many women that take the hormones. Guess what? They all take the same exact dose every single day, right? Whatever dose that I'm giving you, your dose is the same dose every single day. But your needs are different every single day. One day you may eat 2 tacos. Next day, I want 3 tacos today. I'm feeling more hungrier today. With the hormones, you don't have variations. So the only way the body can give you the minor adjustments here and there if oxidative stress are lower. If oxidative stress is lower, your adrenal glands can produce can fill in the gaps if you need more hormones, right? If you need less hormones, then you're out of luck. But if you need more hormones, the body can actually fill in the gaps and produce a little bit more hormones to fill in the gaps for you. So reduced oxidative stress is very critical to help regulate your hormone ups and downs on a daily basis.
Okay, a little bit about that then. So the adrenal glands, I'm saying this so that those that are listening can kind of
Yeah.
understand this as well. The adrenal glands after menopause, the ovaries are no longer producing steroid sex hormones, estrogen,
Yes.
testosterone, progesterone. So the job then becomes the adrenal glands.
That's right.
However, the adrenal glands have two pathways.
Yes.
One pathway is steroid sex hormone production when you can build, repair, restore, rest, digest, and all
Yes.
of that. The other side is the let me get out of here, let me keep you safe, because if you're threatened, if your life is threatened, it doesn't matter how much hormones. So that whole cortisol production that happens in the adrenal glands is the conscious and subconscious thought patterns, the
That's
trauma,
right.
drama, what you're watching, what we actually consume. This is one of the things I raise awareness to. We are consumers. We don't just eat the tacos, as you said. We also eat with our eyes, with our ears, with our nose, with our mouth.
Yes.
We consume information, and that information needs to be digested and eliminated in the way food does. We need our glutathione stress management system, because if we are bringing in, if we're watching horrible things, if we're hearing horrible things, if we're participating in the craziness of life, then our adrenals are going to be secreting cortisol. Cortisol is catabolic. It breaks down bone tissue and lots of other factors.
Yes.
And it won't help you produce whatever hormones you are able to produce at whatever age you're at. Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. Everything is there. That's exactly what I would have said, the same thing.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I always say that the overriding system is stress. And this is from my yoga therapy training, that the mind controls everything. All disease begins in the mind in the view of yoga. In the West, we say it all begins in the gut, but it really all begins at a higher level, because who is the person that is showing up every day to take care of themselves? Is watching what they're watching, paying attention, is sleeping, and doing all the lifestyle factors to optimize health. Who that's showing up for ourselves, that self-care piece. So when we talk about hormones, there is an ability for us, even as a menopausal female, to have whatever my little adrenals. I'm like, I want to be the best hormone producer of whatever I can produce in my late 50s. So
And I want to do the same thing when you're 90s. And you can do that. You can absolutely do that part. And I'll be more than happy to share a story about my dad at the end of it. So I want people to live here with the hope in their mind, right? Because age is just a number. Your body is absolutely resilient and can fix itself.
okay, well, we're going to get to your dad because I do want to get to that. I want to get to your book. I want to get to your dad. I want your glutathione products. I want that too. And so before that, can you give us you've given a lot of tips, but just to put this a little bit into an understandable place, let's say top 5 things that we can do. And one of them could be your transdermal glutathione product.
That's the last thing, yes.
That's the last thing. But that's kind of what I want people to understand, that nothing is just about one thing. It's not about taking NAD. It's not about just taking NAC. It's not about drinking green tea and blueberries. It's all of the things. So what would be your top 5 things that we need to do? And then we need to take your glutathione product. But what are those 5 top of the funnel lifestyle behaviors that are going to help our body be the best it can as it is trying to remember what it was like at 20 and trying to be the best 20-year-old we can be? What are the 5 things we need to do to give our body that best optimal chance?
So this is my personal opinion. Again, this has nothing to do with anybody else. And this is not the 5 things that are improving for glutathione now. This is 5 things that, as a person, what I would do for myself. Okay? First thing is, of course, make sure you breathe clean air, drink clean water. Don't drink anything else besides water, because there's nothing is necessary. And when it comes to your diet, the less work we give to a body, the better off we are. So give the stuff that the body can process it immediately and can use it up. The science has advanced so much that eating whole foods is great, and we should do that part. But eating proteins in the form of meat that the body has to work extra hard to digest it. And you can do that when you're younger, but when you get older, no. So I really strongly believe that giving a balanced array of amino acid blends will give you the same amount of proteins, building blocks to your body, where the body doesn't have to work extra hard. Especially if you're in the 50s and 60s, your body cannot digest food. So having that amino acid blend is absolutely critical for that. So that's the second thing. That's the third thing I do. Fourth things for me is of course the glutathione is there, because by far it's the most important thing after clean air and clean water, is to reduce oxidative stress down. Oxidative stress is linked to top 10 diseases in the world, is linked to oxidative stress. And so it's absolutely a no-brainer. The fifth thing is, this is my personal favorite, is wake up every day. And if you do wake up every day, thank somebody. Think 3 things that you're grateful about today, because that feeling of humility that you're here because somebody helped you to be here today. You're here because of what the life choices you have made in the past. You're here today. You woke up today because the food you chose to eat yesterday was nutritious enough for you to wake up today. Having those gratitudes on a daily basis is really going to get you grounded. It's really going to reduce your stress levels down. And as I said, stress is everything today. Without those gratitudes, you're not waking up refreshed. You're not waking up ready to conquer the world. And so for me, I practice what I preach. I do my gratitudes every single morning. And that's one thing that grounds me down. And I hope that everybody gets to practice that and enjoy the life that they've been given today.
That's beautiful. So those 3 doses of gratitude, can I give you something to call them?
Yes.
You're taking 3 doses of vitamin G.
Oh, I know vitamin
Yeah.
G.
Oh, vitamin G. So I love that. Three doses of vitamin G. You started this off by saying that it's just your opinion, and however, your opinion, given your background, given the studies, the research, your depth of knowledge, has a lot of weight to it. Yes, we all have an opinion. And when your opinion comes from a place with that much life experience, and especially all the research knowledge that you have, and then also there's such a curiosity in you and such a tenacity that you heard something, it made sense to you, you knew that that was the thing, and you kept going at it. You kept going, and you tried the nose spray that burned, you tried the thing that tastes terrible, and you were determined. And because you're a pharmacist, you understand, and I understand limited. I'm a functional health coach. I run functional labs. So I understand that we have the hepatic portal system that
Yeah.
everything has to go through so that the liver can actually say, wait a minute, is this a good thing, not a good thing? But the fact that you went through all of that. So there is a lot, of course, it's your opinion, but it comes from a place with a lot of wisdom behind it. So it's well received.
So thank you. This is what I do every day. So I don't drink anything besides water. And so that's one thing. I don't drink alcohol. I have a very clean diet as much as possible. I haven't touched a cookie probably in God knows how many months now. Christmas time was a little bit harder for me, but still I managed to do so. No chips, nothing like that. So I truly, really try myself to do the right thing, because I want to be a poster child. And when I pave the way for people behind me, I want them to feel like, okay, you know what? It is doable. It's simple habit changes, and that's it. Simple things, anybody can do it. If you give something monumental task, people are just going to give up before they start. But if I add one additional thing, right, every single time that I do things, I think is helping people a lot. So I'm hoping that I can leave a path for people to walk on next time.
Yeah, it's great. And you're like, you came into my life today for a reason, because I definitely have been diverted a little bit more here and there. And it's that self care, and your top 5 they weren't just things. What I saw in them was number one, it was reducing toxic exposure with the air
Yes.
that we breathe and the water. And people don't really realize that one of the main ways we're exposed to toxins is through our water.
Water
So
system.
having filtration is really important. I know you talked about the food and you talked about the digestive aspect. I like to hear what you said about the meat part. I haven't had red meat since 1986. So
Okay.
it's been a long time since I've had red meat. I do eat some animal. And I work with so many women in the bone health world that are vegan or vegetarian or very plant-rich diets. And because muscle is so important when it comes to bone health, there's a lot of pressure out there to eat animal muscle,
That's right.
animal protein. And I think we need to know a little bit more about that. But when you talked about the easy to digest, that's important because we lose that ability to digest and the food has to go from mouth to bone. I mean, my
That's it.
world is bone, right? For you, it might be mouth to whatever it is,
It
you're
is
someone else.
multiple.
It's
It's
mouth
okay.
to bone and it
Yes.
has to get digested and absorbed. And the thing is that if you have foods that are easier to digest or even partially digest, meaning
Oh,
cooked, or
meant.
pureed, they're already broken
Yeah.
down. So really those five things that you just gave us were not just that exact thing. They, again, it just had so much around it. It was reduce toxic exposure, support digestion, reduce oxidative stress,
Yep.
or help your body keep managing oxidative stress and reduce it. And then you brought in the whole gratitude piece where
Mental
we
health.
mental health, because if we live in the limbic loop, if we're in that chronic HPA, that stimulation to the adrenal glands to secrete cortisol and not steroid sex hormones. And when you do gratitude, you actually move to the prefrontal cortical brain. You shift in your brain to the place of fear and scarcity, to the place of, I have enough, I am enough, and I
Yes.
am safe. And that is how we become the best 20-year-old we could be at 60.
And that's what I want to feel for everybody else. I want people to feel like they're in their 20s all the time.
Okay, story about your dad.
Oh, absolutely. 78, type 2 diabetes for 30, 40 years, arthritis for 30 plus years, blood pressure issues, a little bit on the heavy side, nothing obese, but this is the heavy side. He was surviving. He was surviving with us. He was in California with us and he was surviving. By the time he got some mild chest pain and went to the doctors and did an angiogram, and the artery was completely blocked, 100% blocked. The doctor could not believe that he was still alive. I said, put a stent in there so he can breathe, he can just had no shortness of breath anymore. And he said, okay, now you need to do some cardio exercise, walk, yoga, whatever, right? He's been doing breathing yoga pranayams for 30 plus years because that's what he was told, but that did not save him from what he was going through right now. So about that time, it was 2 years into my research and into my research of glutathione. I was doing his testosterone replacement therapy and all those hormones. Everything was done perfectly fine, but still was not enough for him. So I added the glutathione when he was 70, 80 years of age. The next thing I know is I didn't pay attention to him, what was going on in his life because I was doing my own work. He was two or 3 years later when I saw him at the dinner table, he was just pounding on sugars and carbs. I said, Dad, what are you doing? You're diabetic. I said, oh, my sugar's been normal for about a couple of years now. I said, what? So I looked at the blood test for 3 years in a row. The sugars level was actually absolutely normal. I said, but we are Indians. Our issue is not the fasting sugar levels. It's the postprandial, which is the 2 hours after you eat, is the one that's needs to be normal. He goes, oh, yeah, I've been testing that for about 2-3 months. And after that, I stopped testing because it's always been under 100. I said, wait a second. 100 is not even mine sometime, right? And he goes, it's been 100. I said, okay. You know what? Just to let you know, please don't stop walking because I want you to make sure you can exercise because I cannot stop him from eating. So I want to make sure he's walking every single day. And I know you have arthritis, so I just want to make sure you do whatever it takes to walk or I'll get you a bicycle or whatever. And he goes, oh, no. Here's a health app. Go to the health app. He was walking 6 miles a day. After this, I think you have arthritis in him. I said, I have no pain now. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's deformed a little bit, but it's fine, right? And then about this time, we were going on all these vacations. We were in Hawaii, and he was there with us hiking in the Hawaii. We went to the Yosemite National Park and up north in California, and he came with us for the hiking trip. We went to Costa Rica for like a adventure trip, and he was with us the whole time. I said, oh man, this old man is really kicking our butt now, right? But I never put two and two together, okay? By the way, I still wasn't until very later on. And then about 2 more years goes by, and then he comes to me, you know what, I'm going to do chiropractor, and my hips kind of is not aligned properly because my knees are given out. So he suggests I get knee replacement done. I said, oh, chiropractor told you that. I said, all right, let's go to an orthopedic surgeon. So we're to an orthopedic surgeon, and he goes, oh my God, you have no pain. The knees are completely deformed. I said, yeah, I thought for 40 years we'll do that to you, right? I said, okay, it needs both knee replaced so we can do one knee at a time every 6 months. My dad goes, no, I'm 84 years old. There's no chance I'm going to come back at 85 and do my knee, a second knee replacement done. It's painful. I hear it's painful, so I don't want to go through the same process twice. Both knee at the same time. I said, that's hard because if something goes wrong, then you'll be completely wheelchair bound. I said, Dad goes, no, don't just, I can take a chance. I will do both knee at the same time. He did. And 2 days later, after the surgery, he walked out of the hospital in 2 days. So that was a miracle for him. The nurse over there called him Superman. I guess I've never seen an 85-year-old man perform so well and just able to walk. So he was in pain, no doubt about it. He was in pain, but he was able to walk. So I went to the physical therapy, started walking. Within the first 30 days, he already walked like one inner circle of our housing tract there where he was in. And by the second month, he was already walking 2 miles. By second month, right? The doctor says that he's going to take him 6 months for recovery. He's seen my dad yet. So 2.5 or 3 months later, he goes to see the doctor. I said, hey, just want to check how my knees are. Everything is okay or not. I said, I'll be walking more than 2 miles per day. Everything is fine. I walk straight. He made him walk. I said, oh my God, he's like perfect strads. Everything was just perfect. And he goes, so my dad asked him, I said, I know you told me that 6 months before I can travel, but do you think I can travel? And then he goes, I don't see why not. I mean, I've never seen a recovery like this before. I said, oh, I'm glad because I already booked my ticket for next week. He was already going to India next week. So he's been traveling every single year to go to India. We're from Africa, so he goes to Africa every year. And after the knee replacement done, 3.5 months later, he was traveling India. Keep in mind, my mom passed away 25 plus years ago, so he was single. At the age of 85, he was traveling the world by himself. Okay? By that time, pandemic hits, of course, he was not able to travel right away. And so he thought, and as soon as before the lockdown in March, in February, he only left the country. He started traveling on his own. I said, oh my God, this is the best travel I had because guess what? All the airplanes are dead. It's empty. It was perfect for him. So he traveled all over the world every single day. He went to Australia, he went to New Zealand, he went to Alaska. He was just absolutely living his life. Absolutely living his life, right? The only change we made was just the glutathione. That's the only thing we made. Last year, same thing. He was back in India. He has a house right by the ocean, single man, just travels, just does his things, cooks and feeds himself, and he goes to the street and gets some street food. That's Dad, don't eat street food. You're going to get diarrhea from it. You know, it's not the sanitary, it's the place of the world. I guess, sure enough, he gets diarrhea. He goes, oh, God. I said, do not do anything stupid. Okay, don't take any medications or whatnot. Just do what I'm supposed to do. But the diarrhea continued for 2 more days. But the third day, he got dehydrated and lost his balance, falls out in the shower. Right? He falls out of the shower, cracks open his skull. Right? He had the wits of calling the ambulance and pick him up right away, went to the hospital. He calls from the hospital, said, I'm okay, coherent, wakes up, no loss of memory, nothing. I know the doctor at one of the neurosurgeons for NFL. I work with him very closely for brain health. So I called him right away and said, hey, my dad fell down and, oh my God, where is he? I said, he's in India. I said, okay, wherever he is. It's okay. Is he coherent? Is he conscious? Is he loss of memory? So all three are perfectly fine. It's just that there's some internal bleeding going on. I said, okay, don't operate anything. Let me find out. 2 hours later, he arranged a neurosurgeon to go see my dad in India. I found out that later that he was the head of the Neurosurgeon Society of the world. So he knows every doctor in the world. Because this is a friend of mine, go see him, right? Calls me from the hospital. Dad's fine. Everything is okay. There's some bleeding going on. We stop all his blood thinners. So hopefully the bleeding stops. And if he stops in 2 or 3 days, he should be able to discharge. And then a week or 2 days, he should be able to travel. But Dad got all happy. I said, see, I told you, I'll be fine. Don't worry about it. I just lost my balance because I was not drinking enough water. I thought I was drinking enough water, but not plenty of water. Call his brother, call his sister, talks to everybody, just happy. He's about to go to sleep, puts his phone down, goes to sleep, and never wakes up again. And so the story I tell this story is because we still think he's alive today, because He never even suffered a single minute. Yes, he fell down. There was no pain on him. He was able to talk to everybody. He communicated with everybody that he loved with. The last 10, 12 years of his life, he was 89 when he died. 11 years of his life, guess what? He had 12 or 13 trips overseas. He traveled the world. He went to national parks. The only thing left was his bucket list was Yellowstone, which we are going this year in his memory. That's the only thing left in his memory that he could not make it. But other than that, he did everything he wanted to do.
Wow. Amazing.
I want people to have that hope that I don't care if you're 70, 80, 90. If you're alive, if you wake up in the morning, count your blessings and do something to give the power back to your body to heal.
Quality of life.
That's what I had. Thank you very much for my story.
Thank you for sharing. And in the show notes, can we get some glutathione?
Yes. It's aurowellness.com, AURO-wellness.com. I can please urge you, try it for 30 days. Just do it. It's 100% money back guarantee. We don't ask any questions whatsoever. I want just people to just experience for 30 days. And if you have zero benefits from it, guess what? You are healthy. Your body's able to reach back to homeostasis. If you're 40 and above, you're going to feel something. And over time, you're going to forget how bad you were 6 months ago. And in 6 months, you're going to become a whole different person.
All right. Well, I'm going to get some. Okay. Thank you so much. I know you need to go. And I want to have you back on to talk about hormones, BHRT.
Absolutely. I'll be there again.
All right. Thank you so much for this. This was so enjoyable for me, and I know it will be so enjoyable for those that listen.
Thank you, Debbie, for having me today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for joining me on Stronger Bones Lifestyle. Are you ready to take charge of your future? For show notes, resources, and information on my programs, please visit DebiRobinson.com. If today's episode empowered you, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs it. Together, we're building stronger bones and stronger lives. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.